container. And I will give here product details. So in the product details, so here we are configuring. All the details need to be displayed here. I'm using a data list, data term, name, and a data definition. Here I'm using an interpolation. And here I need to access product.name and data term. So price, here we need to access product dot price, and another data term, so quantity, and data definition. So this is quantity, and here we defined product.qty, and another option is we have total. And important is the expression, data binding expression. I told you that a data binding expression, it dynamically evaluates a value and binds to the view. That is the ability of data binding expression. That means we use these data binding expressions mostly for evaluation, handling an expression dynamically. So that means here, so I want to calculate total, then I can use a binding expression here where I can print product.quantity into product.price. I can handle that. You can use, suppose I want to print, so in stock is in stock. I will simply say stock. And the data definition, here stock is a Boolean value, true or false. Then here I can use here an expression where I can write a ternary operator. Product.instock, is equal to true. If it is equal to true and a question mark, I can print a statement. The statement is available, and colon, otherwise out of stock. And you can save this, and you can see it should bind all the data and display in a proper way. That means it is accessing and displaying the data in a proper way. So the name, the price, the quantity, and total, and the stock, everything is properly defined. So that means we can access and bind. One of the main advantages of this binding expression is it can evaluate any value. It can evaluate any value dynamically. It can handle expressions dynamically. That is through interpolation we can configure, right? So interpolation allows to handle this. Means you can evaluate a value dynamically and attach it. That is the ability. That means you can handle any expression. This is general binding approach here. So interpolation means using data binding expression. So example, just we can try this one. First, go to any component. You can have any name, component. Add any component.ts. In the component.ts file, you can give any name for that component. This is the component.ts file. That is the code. So here I'm using some login component, right? And you can create any component. How to create components already we saw. Then go to dot component dot html, and in the html we are presenting it. This is an example of interpolation, how we can access the data and bind. Now, another important point is property binding. The second important is the property binding. So this is interpolation. So another option is property binding. Actually, HTML element comprises of properties. HTML element comprises of properties. Remember, element comprises of properties and tag comprises of attributes. That is the difference we need to know. Element have properties. For example, img is not an element. A is not an element. img is a tag, and the element name is image. Image is an element actually. And anchor, A is a tag. And anchor is an element. Actually. That means, so the elements are built dynamically. By using tags. They are built dynamically by using tags. That means technically elements are built by using tags. And tags will have attributes and elements will have properties. That means usually img, src, if I say like this, then in this case src is attribute. So this is src, that is attribute, that is the point. Another option is, suppose var pic is equal to new image, and pic.src is equal to some path. And here src is property. So that means we should know the difference between the property and the attribute. So HTML element comprises of properties. So generally HTML tag comprises of attributes. Attributes are static. Statically we use. Attributes are static. And the properties are dynamic. Angular always recommends to bind. Recommends to bind the value dynamically to a property. Angular always, right? So Angular always recommends to bind the value dynamically to a property. So Angular technically allows to bind. You can bind to attributes, that I will tell you how we can bind to other attributes. Generally, when you are dealing with